we're going to be talking about impromptu. First, we're going to talk about ways that you can prepare and practice for impromptu. Second, we're going to be talking about how you would actually give an impromptu speech once you're at a tournament. So first, let's talk about practice. Impromptu is technically a category where you could do nothing and then show up at the tournament. But that strategy really isn't advisable. So, how do people actually prepare for impromptu? Most people give practice speeches for their friends and family so they can get more comfortable speaking and generate different examples they can use. But in order to practice, you need to have practice topics. So where do you find those topics? The first location is the internet. When you're looking for impromptu topics on the internet, use caution. If you go into Google and type in practice impromptu topics, most of the ones that pop up wouldn't actually be used in NCFCA. So please check with someone if you aren't sure whether the impromptu topics on the internet would actually be used. Here's what I'd recommend doing, since so many of the topics aren't actually used in NCFCA. Go on the internet and look up a long list of idioms or proverbs. That should have you covered when it comes to phrase questions. The second thing you should do is go onto Travis Hirsch's website. He's a debate and speech coach. A while ago, he posted a lot of quotes that were used at nationals a few years ago, so you should be covered there. Then words are pretty easy to come up with on your own. So when you're practicing for a friend or a member of your family, ask them to just write down 2 words that come to mind. For example, love, peace, uncertainty, equality, vanity, anything like that. That way, you should have enough topics in order to practice. Now that you have some practice topics, you can move on to the next step of preparation, actually giving a speech to your friends and family. All you do is sit down and time yourself. Give yourself 2 minutes of prep time, where you can think about and brainstorm different things that you should say based on the topic you drew. Then you stand up, and the hard part starts. You have to have the courage to give one to a family member or someone who's willing to listen to you. Your first time, it can be a little bit intimidating, but with practice, it gets easier and easier. Also, another technique that can help you a great deal is recording different examples that you use after you give a speech. Write down any good examples that you used during that speech, or good examples that you thought of afterwards and wish you used. Compile a list of these that you can look over before you start practicing. That way, it can jog your memory of different examples that can be used. Many people use this framework. They set up their speech like a 5-paragraph essay. They have an introduction, then they state their topic, then they have 3 points, and a conclusion. In addition to arranging it this way, many people think through what kind of points they will have and follow different frameworks. One framework would be the good, the bad, and how to tell the difference. Another would be presenting a biblical, historical, and literary example. There are countless frameworks to choose from, and you can experiment with which ones you like best. Now that you know a little bit about preparation, let's talk about how you would actually give a speech at a tournament. In the second half of this video, performing at a tournament. To do this, you will do 6 steps. Step 1, wait. In all categories for speeches, it's common courtesy to wait 2 minutes after the person before you leaves the room. This gives judges time to fill out their ballots. In limited preps, it isn't as important because judges can take time to fill out their ballots while you're taking prep time. However, it's still a nice thing to have. So look in through the door and try and read the room. If judges are writing, do go ahead and give them the 2 minutes. If they look ready for you, you can go ahead and go in though. Step 2, enter the room. After you've waited the correct amount of time, go inside the room and introduce yourself to the judges. Your introduction will be along the lines of, "Hello, my name is Emmy Oatsky and I'll be your next speaker for today." Some people hold up their name tags when they do this and then tuck it into their jacket, but this isn't required and most people don't. Step 3, ask the judges if you can draw your topics. Step 4, use prep time. You can move your topics over to the table that will be designated for people to sit down at. You use your pen and your blank piece of paper to brainstorm, the way that you practice doing at home. During this time, the timer will be telling you every time you use 30 seconds. So they'll tell you when you have 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining, 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, and usually they'll tell you when you have 10 seconds. Step 5, give your speech. When your prep time has elapsed, stand up and walk in front of the judges. Remember, you can only take your topic slip up there with you. Ask the judges if they are ready. Then ask the timer if they're ready. making your speech. During this time, the timer will be giving you hand signals to tell you how much time they have remaining. They will say that you have 4 minutes remaining by holding up 4 fingers, 3 by holding up 3, 2 by holding up 2, and so on. They'll also tell you when you have 30 seconds left, and then they'll count down using their fingers to tell you when you have 10 seconds left. Step 6. Throw a party because you just finished an impromptu speech. Just kidding. Step 6. Leave the room. After you're done talking, step forward and shake each of the judges' hands, verbally thanking them for their time. Also, shake hands with the timer and thank them for timing. If you're curious, you can ask the timer how long your speech was before you leave the room. Once you've done all that, don't forget to pick up your pen, your sheet of paper, and your topic slip before you leave. When you're leaving, make sure that you leave the door open. Remember, don't talk to anyone about the topic you drew or the content of your speech before the round is over. You don't want someone who hasn't given their speech yet to hear what the topics are for that round. With this in mind, you can go and compete in the rest of your tournament. Have fun. Now you know